So, you've managed to do the impossible. Not only have you built up your outboard gear collection enough to be able to record a full band, you've acquired only the most high-end boutique microphones that money can buy. And all week you've been waiting. You finally convinced some poor unsuspecting musician to come over to your mom's basement to record their newest banger fire emoji slammin' hit that none of your friends are ready for. You've been waiting for this all week. The clients are finally here. As you sit down at your spaceship-esque desk, the unthinkable happens. Chances are, if you're watching this video, it's because you have one of these Focusrite units and you're having trouble with it, either not wanting to turn on right away or not wanting to turn on at all. And fortunately, as long as you have the same problem that I've experienced with these two units here, I have a quick and easy way to fix this, and it's not going to cost you a ton of money. So let's get one of these over on the bench and we'll take a look at it. If you were working with electronic circuits, please be careful and insert whatever legal disclaimer needs to be here. This video is for entertainment purposes only, and I will not be responsible for you electrocuting yourself. All right, so we got our unit over here on the bench. This one in particular is a Clarett Octopre. This is going to cover pretty much everything from like some of the old Sapphire Pro 40s all the way up to the 18i20s and stuff. These units all use the same power supply, which, if you know a little bit about electronics, the clicking on and off is usually a great indication that you have a capacitor going bad. If you're not familiar with what a capacitor is, it stores extra electricity for a device when they need extra current. Normally that's on startup or something. That was my first indication that we were looking at some kind of power supply issue. And you can see here, this one that I have wrapped up is actually from the main Clarett unit. But we've got another one here for this one. These parts I got from instrumentalparts.com. I can leave a link in the video. There may be other places that you can get them a little cheaper or something, but they had the quickest availability, and this was kind of something that was time sensitive to get done, so for what it's worth. The best part about this repair is you're not even going to need a soldering iron. The only thing you're really going to need is a toolkit, something with some small Phillips bits or whatever to remove these screws. But for the sake of making this a little bit quicker video, I'm just going to use a drill. So there's going to be 8 screws on the top, and then I believe it's 3 on each side, it looks like. So once you've taken all the screws off of the top and the sides, just the top and the sides, the top cover lifts right off. And that is going to give us access to everything on the inside. But what we're going to be replacing here is the power board. Now I suspect that there is a particular component that goes bad in these that's probably cheaper to replace than the entire board. However, I have not been able to identify what that is yet. And like I said, we were trying to do this a little faster. So instead of saving a couple bucks, we're just swapping the whole unit out. So once you've got the cover off, you're going to want to go ahead and unplug the cables. The ribbon cable has to be unplugged from the main board side of the unit. And then the power is removed from the power side of the unit. But what I'm noticing is that you might want to remove these 3 screws first. Also, for the record, I do not recommend using a drill to remove circuit boards unless you're fairly comfortable doing this stuff. So now that those screws are out, we can lift our board up, and it's going to allow us to get to the release for that clip a lot easier. So There you go. There's our old one out. You said not seeing any obvious signs of failure, like a burst capacitor or anything like that. So if you have a little more insight, if anybody's dug into these more on your own, and you've been able to figure out what the specific component that fails is, drop a comment below and let us know, because it seems kind of wasteful to replace an entire board for a cheap component, but it is what it is. It's better than buying a whole new unit. And as they say, installation is the opposite of removal. So we'll go ahead and plug our power lead back in. Slip our board down in here. And then put the screws back on. However, I'm going to move to a different camera angle to show the installation of this, just so you can have a little better idea of what it looks like. All right, so I tried to get a little better angle here for you for reassembly. So you can see here is the power lead, and then this is the ribbon cable that goes to the main board. It's not actually really a ribbon, but I'll just cut that part. So you can't really mix these up. Like, one's got 8 leads coming, one's only 2. It's very easy not to mix those up. So your screw locations are going to be top up here, bottom left, and then bottom right. Also, note when I'm putting these in, I am not tightening them down all the way with the drill. Because we would not want to crack our circuit board. So we'll get out the handy dandy screwdriver to finish torquing those down. Hook up our other lead, and then we should have an operational unit again after we put it together. So we got one in the bottom left here, one towards the bottom middle right by this real tall capacitor, and then one up on the top left. Now that that's done, we will plug our ribbon cable back in. There we go, seat it all the way. And then grab a power cable, and we'll plug this in and see what happens. Look at that, no more clicking, turns on, works perfectly. So to summarize quickly, we replaced the power supply unit that was faulty in this Clarett Octopre. It's a fairly common issue with the Focusrite units. I say that because there's a lot of information out there available about it, but there are a lot of these units out there also. So as far as how high that failure rate is, I don't know, but the good news is that, like I said, as you saw, it's a very simple, it's an easy, and most importantly, it's a pretty cheap fix. So be careful, don't hurt yourself, and hopefully, if you've run into this issue, this saves you some trouble.